It's Sunday afternoon. The sun is still out. You haven't even finished your coffee, and somehow work is already ruining your day. That knot in your stomach, the scrolling to avoid your own thoughts, the creeping dread that starts sometime around 3 p.m. and just gets louder. Then maybe you don't get good sleep on Sunday nights. Today, I'm going to show you why it happens and the specific steps to stop handing your Sundays over to a job that doesn't even start until tomorrow. Today, you'll learn the real biology behind Sunday dread or the Sunday scaries, why the standard advice often makes it worse, and my 3-part approach to reclaiming your weekend. So stay tuned. First, welcome back to Season 3 of the Workplace Therapy podcast with me, Dr. Abby Medcalf. Really happy to have you here. And this topic comes straight out of my Substack community. And definitely, I've had a lot of clients who have this issue. And so here we go. Let's get to it. So why does work dread start before the week even begins? That's obviously the first question here, right? The Sunday scaries, as we call them, are actually something called anticipatory anxiety. Okay, that's our psychological name for it. And it's really your brain's threat detection system firing before anything has actually happened. So here's what's going on underneath that dread you're feeling. Your nervous system, specifically the part governed by what researcher Stephen Porges, who I talk about all the time, calls your polyvagal system. Notice how much I talk about that because it's important. That nervous system and that polyvagal system specifically is constantly scanning your environment for signs of danger. And it doesn't distinguish between a tiger in the bushes and a Monday morning full of emails from your boss. It just registers, threat incoming. So on Sunday afternoon, when your brain starts running through what's waiting for you tomorrow, that threat response activates. Your amygdala, right, your brain's alarm system, processes the thought of work before your prefrontal cortex, that rational planning part of your brain, even has a chance to come online. So the emotional brain, it really moves faster than your thinking brain, as you know, which is why you're often grab the brownie before, you've thought, I'm on a diet. So by the time you consciously decide, I'm going to stop thinking about work, the stress hormones are already flowing. It's all the biology is already happening. And what makes it worse is that anticipatory anxiety involves your brain, essentially time traveling to Monday morning and experiencing it as if it's already happening. So the dread feels real because neurologically it is real. Your body's responding to a future threat as if it's a present one. And the data backs up just how widespread this is. There's a LinkedIn study I looked at that found that 78% of millennials and Gen Z workers experience Sunday night dread regularly. And Google searches for Sunday scaries were up 84% year on year in 2025. Okay. So it's real. So why does Sunday feel worse than other days off, right? If anticipatory anxiety about work were the whole story, right? You dread every night before a workday equally, but you don't. Monday morning anxiety is different from Tuesday morning anxiety, and Sunday feels uniquely terrible in a way that Friday evening doesn't, even though Friday is also a night before a day off. But it doesn't matter. They don't line up. There's 2 main reasons for this. First, Sunday carries a specific psychological weight that other days don't. It's the last day of freedom before the work week begins, right? It means your brain registers it as the day you lose something, not just a day off. Loss aversion, which is the psychological principle that losing something feels roughly twice as bad as gaining something of equal value feels good. Okay, yeah. Means your brain is already in a low-grade kind of grieving mode by Sunday afternoon. You're not just anticipating Monday. You're mourning the end of a weekend. Okay, the second problem is that Sunday's the day most people allow themselves to think about work without actually doing work. So you might check your email just to see what's waiting. You mentally rehearse, the difficult conversations you've been avoiding. You run through your to-do list. It's one of the worst things you can do, by the way, and I'll explain why in a moment, because the fix for it is very specific, but we'll get there in a second. But those are the two reasons. So why does the standard advice make it worse, right? Most Sunday Scaries advice tells you to plan your week on Sunday, right? Make a to-do list, review your calendar, batch your tasks. The theory is that getting organized reduces uncertainty, and uncertainty drives anxiety, right? So that's how you'd handle that. The research on this, though, is more complicated than that simple advice suggests. So for some people, planning does reduce anxiety, but for many high achieving, already organized people, which is probably you, Sunday planning doesn't reduce the dread at all. It extends it. You're bringing work into your Sunday in a structured way, which trains your nervous system to associate Sunday with work stress rather than rest. And you're also giving your amygdala, that fear part of your brain, more materials to process, which is part of the problem. So the problem isn't that you don't know what Monday holds. That's not our problem. The problem is that your nervous system is treating Monday as a threat. And I got to tell you, no amount of calendar management changes the threat assessment. What changes the threat assessment is regulation, not preparation. I'm going to say that again. What changes the threat assessment, this idea that it's a threat coming, is regulation, not preparation. Okay? So that's where we're going today. And so before I give you the tools, I want to say something that might be a little uncomfortable. Sometimes the Sunday Scaries are information. If you dread work every single Sunday without exception, if the feeling's intense and persistent and has been going on for months, I think it's worth getting curious about, right? What is your nervous system trying to flag? And I'm an organizational psychologist, and I have a master's in counseling psych, and I got 40 years of doing this. And I can tell you, I've been working with people inside and outside of organizations for a really long time, and I've seen the pattern a lot. Chronic Sunday dread often, I think, signals a mismatch between your values and your workplace culture. And an unsustainable workload, a relationship with a boss or coworker that's activating your threat response on a regular basis, or it can signal burnout. I think it signals a lot of things that haven't really surfaced yet, or if they have surfaced, you haven't addressed them. And the tools I'm about to give you work beautifully for situational Sunday dread. They're less effective as a substitute for addressing a genuinely toxic situation. Now, that said, most of the people I work with aren't in objectively terrible jobs. They're in fine jobs, sometimes even good jobs, with a nervous system that's been conditioned to treat work as a threat, right? Because you're trying to overperform, and you have, you feel like you have imposter syndrome. Like, there's all kinds of other reasons why, and you're just generally anxious. But that, again, you're treating work as a threat is entirely fixable. So how do you actually stop the Sunday Scaries? I have a 3-part approach. And not generic self-care suggestions, okay? Each one is going to target a specific mechanism driving the dread, all right? So here we go. Part 1 is the Sunday cutoff, okay? And I've been doing this with clients for years. This is exactly what I tell clients to do in my private practice, all right? The Sunday cutoff is part 1. The Sunday cutoff works by, it's breaking the anticipation loop. And the anticipation loop is what happens when you dip in and out of work thoughts on Sunday without fully committing to either work or rest. That's what happens. You check your email, but you don't respond. You think about the presentation, but you don't open the file. You rehearse the difficult conversation, but don't write the email. Every one of these partial engagements keeps your nervous system in a low-grade alert state. You got to get this. Your amygdala registers, okay? This thing is a threat. I should keep monitoring it. So that's why it doesn't let it go. The Sunday cutoff, this step 1 or whatever, process 1, means you pick a time. Now, I would say ideally that's Friday at the end of the day. I would much rather you did it then, but if you can't do Friday, then do Sunday morning, and you do one complete bounded piece of work. You review what's waiting for you on Monday morning. You write down the 3 things that actually need to happen, and then you close the loop completely. No more dipping. It's the dipping that's the problem. The goal isn't to eliminate all Monday thoughts. It's to stop the partial engagement that keeps the threat response active. That's what we're trying to do with that step, okay? With that part. That was part 1. Part 2 is active rest. That's the next step. And active rest, it works by giving your nervous system sort of a genuine off-ramp. One of the reasons Sunday dread is so persistent is that most people's idea of rest is actually passive distraction. Okay, that's not rest. Scrolling, watching TV, lying on the couch. These activities don't deactivate your stress response. They just give it less fuel. Your nervous system is still in a low-grade alert state. Okay, there's just less stimulation coming in. That's okay. Active rest is any activity that that genuinely shifts your physiological state. So I know exercise, I'm sorry, it's not sitting on the couch eating Oreos, all right? Trust me, that's my favorite thing to do. It's not that. Exercise, even a 20-minute walk, is really one of the most effective things to do because it metabolizes the stress hormones that are already circulating. So there's nothing you can do better than maybe, again, I would try to do process 1 on Friday night. If you Friday before you leave work, but if you really can't do that, then Sunday morning you spend a half hour, whatever 10 minutes, whatever you need to lock down whatever you need to lock down. And then I would go for a big walk, something, go play tennis, do something. Then you also want to have social connection with people you actually enjoy, not obligation socializing, right? But when you have socializing with people you actually enjoy, it activates that ventral vagal system, which is part of the nervous system associated with calm, with safety, with what we call the tend and befriend state. It creates, it really creates just a calmness. So again, it can't be, don't see your mom if your mom drives you nuts. I mean, like really someone who fills you up. Okay, really something that adds. Creative activities that require your full attention. For me, it's when I love cooking something new. I will bake something I've never baked. I will cook. I find it super zen. And I have to tell you, I've turned a lot of men onto this too. I'm telling you, cooking, like getting a recipe, throwing yourself into it, creating something. First of all, what I love about that is also, my work is kind of never done, right? When I'm working with clients, it's not like you guys, it's like, oh, I'm all fixed. Bye. I don't mean that I don't end working with people, but there's always like more, even when I do a pie, there's more. When you cook something, like if I'm cooking stew, I finish the stew, right? And it's on the thing. So it's really how I've taught myself so many cool cassoulet, like all kinds of really cool recipes. I really like to bake. I love trying a new cookie or a new something. On a Sunday, it is one of my favorite things to do. Cook, make a lasagna for the week. So it could be a both and, like it can, you can do some food prep, but I wouldn't just do like salad prep, although that's fine. But I would really think of like cooking something you haven't cooked before, putting your attention there. So anything new, right? Playing music. Gardening work the same way because they occupy your prefrontal cortex with something other than the work rumination. That's really what you're trying to do. You're rarely going to get through, of course, an episode without me mentioning mindfulness. And this is exactly where it earns its keep. Again, a consistent mindfulness practice, even 10 minutes a day, literally changes the structure of your amygdala over time. It reduces its reactivity to perceived threats. I can't say it enough, and you're still not doing it. Some of you are still not doing it. You're making me a little crazy, okay? I want to smack you kind of hard. I'm not going to lie about it. The free mindfulness starter kit I have on the shop page. It's free. Grab it. I know it's on the shop page. Don't let that throw you. Something. Get the Insight Timer app. Something. It's the easiest possible entry point, and I've seen it. It just makes such a real difference for exactly this kind of chronic low-grade anxiety. So please, 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 all of these things I just mentioned. And then part 3 is what I call the Sunday anchor. The Sunday anchor works by giving your nervous system something to move toward rather than something to dread. Okay. So I know it's going to sound almost too simple, but the research on positive anticipation is solid. When you've got something genuinely pleasurable scheduled for Sunday evening, your brain has a competing attentional target. I find that most people do something during the day Sunday, but then the dreads happen later in the day, like 3 p.m., right? That's usually when it hits, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. And then people can't sleep at night. So you actually want something fun Sunday night. That's when you exercise, or that's when you're doing your gardening with your light on, I guess, in the backyard or something. I don't know. So your brain, when it has a competing target, it does better. The dread still exists, but it's not the only thing in the field, right? Over time and with repetition, your nervous system begins to associate Sunday evening with the anchor rather than with the dread in the work. So the anchor needs to be specific and reliable. I'll tell you that. It can't be I'll relax Sunday evening, but Sunday evenings, I make the good pasta that I love and I watch the show I actually like. That's when I'd let you watch that show. Like something that's the reward, right? Something that you do. I know a lot of times, you wait until all the episodes are out so you can binge all day on Sunday something, right? I'm going to spend Sunday binging something, the second season of The Pit or something. I love The Pit. Anyway, but don't do that. Instead, you can save 2 episodes if you want and do it that way, but something like that, or watch some lighter show, or I don't know. But yeah, make that pasta have the dessert, maybe that you bake during the day. Something and it should be try to have it be the same every week. Specificity, try saying that 10 times fast, is what makes it work. Your nervous system learns, again, through repetition and predictability, which is the same reason the dread got established in the first place, all right? So that's what you want. So let me wrap up, and then I'll talk about the free download for today, because of course I have a fabulous one. I want you to, what I want you to take away, that the Sunday Scaries are a conditioned nervous system response. It's something your brain has practiced so many times, it just runs automatically now. You didn't have the Sunday Scaries when you were 3, or 5, right? The 3 tools I just said, the Sunday cutoff, the active rest, and a Sunday anchor, each of them interrupt the pattern at a different point in the cycle. So really, I want you to use all 3 together. I'm telling you, you're going to notice a shift within a few weeks. You're going to. What you're building isn't willpower or better coping. You're literally retraining your nervous system's threat response to stop treating Monday as a predator. And once that shift happens, you don't just get your Sundays back. You get a different relationship with your work entirely, which is very much what I'd love for you to have. Let's talk about putting today's lesson into action. So today's free download, you guessed it, is a Sunday reset toolkit. It's like just a quick, I think it's 1 page, maybe it's 1.5. It's a guide to the 3-part Sunday Scary system, including the Sunday cutoff checklist. It has an active reset menu, a Sunday anchor planner, right? I make it really easy for you to do and to operationalize. That's what that's about. So if this is something for you, come download that. It's free. To be completely transparent, always, anytime you download anything from me, get a free anything from me, or buy anything from me, you will get put on my Love Bites list, which means that you will get 2 times a month. You'll get my Love Bites, my love letter, and it doesn't sell you anything. I'm not trying to make you do anything. It is just a inspirational, very short thing to read to help you in your week. It comes out twice a month, the 2nd and 4th Wednesday. If you do not, I think you'll love it. If you like the podcast, you'll love it. It'll help you stay inspired and motivated. If you don't, just unsubscribe. It's that easy. So, and if you download multiple things from me, it's not like you suddenly get on the list 5 times unless you use different emails. So use the same email and nothing extra will happen. All right. That's it for today. Thank you. I'm so excited. We're starting season 3. I have so many good topics this season. So stay tuned and I'll talk to you real soon.